Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Everything is Fine, Nothing is Ruined podcast. I'm your host, as always, Hassan. Joining me is Tristan.
Hey, how's it going?
This week, we're continuing Tristan's journey to watch everybody's favorite long-running cartoon series about a group of five and their wacky hijinks.
Yeah!
That's right, folks. We're continuing through all of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah! No, actually.
Yeah, we've reached the year 2001. Tristan, what crazy mysteries is the gang solving this time?
Kind of nothing.
Nothing?
I think that was that may have been the Zombie Island one movie they did. Maybe one of the live action movies came around that time.
Okay, well, definitely the zombie one did come out around then. That's when the Hex Girls show up.
Yeah, sure, cool, yeah. Oh, the Hex Girls, yes! Yes, Queen. That's all I know, though.
This is your rewatch, Tristan. You're supposed to...
I don't know how you keep getting this wrong.
Know more about it and be able to speak to it.
Yeah, you keep getting this wrong. I'm not rewatching.
Don't think that's right.
I'm pretty sure it's right. I haven't rewatched most of the things that you are listing off. Do you know what I'm rewatching this week? You said Scooby-Doo.
You're not Scooby-Doo. Right.
Okay. And then last time it was...
Coronation Street.
Yeah, which I didn't rewatch. The previous time was...
I don't remember, actually.
That's fine. I don't remember. I expect you to remember like fucking 6 weeks ago or whatever it was. God, it's been that way. Anyway, it's none of those
things. It's
things.
Family Guy.
We'll get there. We'll talk about Family Guy in a future episode.
All right, well, what are you rewatching then? I don't know.
The Simpsons, the clouds, the title comes up. It's a whole thing. Da 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 da.
I gotta say, I think your time would be better spent watching Scooby-Doo.
Well.
Hey man,
you know
that Zombie Island movie's really good. Mystery Inc. is maybe a top 5 cartoon for me.
Yes, I agree. Only 2 seasons, criminal, but went it on a high note. Good call. The Simpsons, though, as we all know, has gone on for far too fucking long, and remains to be doing so, reportedly, for another 9 seasons post season 35.
They say that?
They want to end at 1,000.
How many of those voice actors might die before another 9 seasons?
I don't know if it matters at this point because they have a kind of a blank check to do whatever they want. That's the worst part.
Yeah, I guess.
They have a specific contract and it rolled over to Disney. So it's not like they can just break that contract. But yeah, I mean, the voice actors as of where I'm at, which is season 27.
Castellaneta is 66. Turned 67 this year.
Yeah, Julie
so
Kavner
is
the
Nancy
one you gotta...
Cartwright. So two of these actors that do multiple voices. Looking at that going, 9 more years. That is not even the oldest voice actor on the entire list. Julie Kavner is the one you got to look at. She's the oldest voice actor on the list. Who does
Marge
she play?
Simpson.
Oh.
Marge Simpson.
But I feel like you can replace a voice, right? If something happens, you could replace her.
You can't.
Dan Castellaneta and Nancy Cartwright, that's a lot of voices to replace.
True, but here's the thing. I think you'd be extremely hard-pressed to replace the voice of Marge Simpson with somebody else. I don't think anybody else can do it as well as Julie Kavner. And she hasn't been able to do it for a while because she's so...
I've heard that.
She's rickety. No offense to her. Like, she's an amazing voice actor.
I'm not wishing anything bad to happen to these people. It's just, you say 9 more seasons, it's like, statistically speaking, some of these people would not live another 9 seasons.
Yeah, statistically speaking, you're right. That's the thing. we're not sure how long they've got. You know, we already lost, like, one voice actor to old age. So, which was Ed Nicarapo's voice actor, who died in around season 13. No, sorry, that's too late. Season 22, 23, 24. We're in there.
Well, we should get on to this week's season, which is 13, and I'm gonna guess
13, 14.
You know what?
Yes.
I'm just gonna give some context here. This season, first episode airs November 6th, 2001. So I'm gonna go ahead and guess that results in a very low season, and I'm gonna say, I forget I think the last season was like a 6, so I'm gonna guess this is like a 5.1.
Well, Hassan, so let's just kind of go back a little bit. So we're talking about season 12 first. That was a 6.95, right?
Oh, we're doing season 12 and 13?
No, it's 13 and 14.
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah. Season 12 was what?
Season 12 was a 6.95.
I'm still sticking with a 5.1.
You are almost close. It's a 5.9.
Yeah, okay.
They managed to pull it out, even though it's post 9/11.
How much of that shows up in this?
None.
Okay, all right.
None. Not until season 14, kind of, I think, sort of. There's not a lot there, though. They, for what it's worth, The Simpsons is pretty respectful towards that sort of stuff. I know in season 9 they had Homer versus the state of New York.
I wonder if a lot of that stuff, because something that I've been being exposed to and learning about over the last couple of years is how much of the kind of like propaganda and insidiousness of the post 9/11 using characters to kind of subtly promote these things was not directly in the media. So it's things like seeing, the Disney Channel didn't promote 9/11 in its shows. It promoted it in its interstitials between, its commercial break kind of stuff. It's like, so I wonder if there was a lot of that sort of Simpsons stuff that we just wouldn't see, of like, people in Simpsons costumes showing up to sporting events and, oorah America stuff. That
maybe, but I don't think so.
This is made by Fox, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. Fox News and Fox, the entertainment company, are kind of separate. They're the same company, of course, but they're kind of separate. That's why you have The Simpsons, which is a fairly liberal show, on the same network where you'd have Tucker Carlson and those guys. It's a weird dynamic, but it seems to work for them, so fucking whatever, I guess. Yeah, so 5.9 for The Simpsons. This is what this season gets. And I gotta say, this is a pretty average season as the indicator for the score. Now, do you want to guess how many 10 out of 10s are on the season, Hassan?
I mean, when I look at this list of episodes, I don't know that any jump out as a 10. 0?
1.
Okay.
There's one.
All right. Which one is it? Let's hear it.
One I consider a 10 and 10. That is Jaws Wired Shut, season 13, episode 9. This one I like a lot because it's a very heartfelt episode. You don't get a lot of things like this. This is one where basically Homer causes such a crazy panic during a movie. He gets chased out of it and then runs into a statue of Dredrick Tatum who has his fist out. And he runs into the fist and breaks his jaw. So he gets his jaw wired shut. And the whole thing is basically he becomes this like amazing listener and this kind, caring man, and starts like doing good for the family and being there for people and all this stuff. And then he gets his jaw on water. He's like, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this because everybody seemed to like me when I was doing this, and I like being a good person. And this drives Marge insane because that's her job. So she does a Homer Simpson and decides, like, I'm going to do what Homer does to kind of, like, you know, to cause a little chaos because she needs that chaos in her life because everything is too simple now, too basic. So she joins a demolition derby. And there's a lot of, like, really good, like, Popeye jokes as Homer has to save Marge, his olive oil, basically.
Oh, yeah. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they, like, shoot the beer in his mouth. He's like, I'm going to shoot my wife. Kind of thing. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a 10 out of 10 because, like, there's a lot of really good heartfelt moments. A great premise, interesting jokes, fun jokes, really dumb jokes as well, but they still kind of work. And then, like, the ending is enjoyable and fun, and I don't know, it's interesting to see Homer be like this and kind of remove himself from that, like, jerk-ass Homer atmosphere that was happening around this time of, like, The Simpsons. Don't worry, though. We'll get more of that later on. Up until season 26, when they do a thing eventually to remove, or at least try to remove the moniker of jerk-ass Homer from him. We'll get there when we get there, but yeah. Jerk-ass Homer is here to stay, is what I'm saying.
Okay. So we have a 10.
Yeah.
So, and we'll get to the so that's our best episode. We'll get to our worst episode. What are the sort of, right, 5.9? What are just kind of the averages like? You know, what? What's sort of, you know, the feeling that they give, or it's missing from them? Is it just that it's like, yeah, this is just more Simpsons. It's not good. It's not bad. Yeah. It's kind of just more of what I've already had before.
More or less, yeah. So, like, let's just point this out. I think the best indicator of this is the Trios of Horrors episode is a 5 out of 5, or 5 out of 10. Just flat, boom. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing great about it. Whatever. A few more episodes are like 7s and 6s. You get a couple 4s. You get a 2 or here or there. And there's a 9. There's an 8. There's a, you know, this season is all over the place because, like, the quality is starting to dip and rise, and because you still get people like writers on the show who truly care about this show, but you do still also have the writers at this point. I pointed out in the previous episode that in season 11 and 12 they started being like, we can do no wrong, and so fuck it, I guess. Let's just do whatever we want. So that is carried over into this season and the next as well. And in the future seasons on top of that. Again, they have a specific contract that's like, hey, they're not going anywhere, so you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter if you're profitable. You have this contract that is unbreakable, and you're going to produce as many episodes as you want to produce, regardless. Cool. So, yeah, there's a lot of 8s. Like, a lot of, like, you know, up there with really good episodes. But, like, would I recommend this season to anybody? Not really, because it's actually ultimately pretty forgettable.
Yeah, and
with a couple of exceptions.
I'm looking at the guest stars too, and something that feels noticeable about this compared to past. So, like, early seasons, the guest stars all felt like who the writers or animated, you know, the creatives involved wanted, because they were, you know, like, pulling in people from like 40s, 50s, and 60s, or comedians that were not big names. Whereas I now look at it and it's stuff of like, oh, Wolfgang Puck is there,
Yes.
Or what was another one that I saw?
Carmen Electra.
Yeah, I think I saw that one, right? Like Stan Lee.
Oh yeah, this is where Stan Lee shows up in an episode.
Carmen Electra. Like it's just these names that it's like, oh, you're just here because that you just want to like. Hey, before that would have been a character you just created, a new character that might have been vaguely inspired by a specific person or even a pastiche of multiple people, whereas now it's like, nah, just write a weirdo like a Wolfgang Puck, or just write in a Carmen Electra.
Like Boobarella, who was a pastiche of,
Yeah.
Yeah, hosts a spooky cable television access show about reviewing movies. Watch movies, and she's got big boobs. Boobs. That's all she says, really. It's a sad character. They eventually do it with Boobarella for in season 20 something. So she's there for a while. Not really doing much, mind you, but they just try and make Boobarella work. Like they try and make Fetch work. It's not going well for them. Jaws Wired Shut. Like I said, pretty good. Let's get into the worst ones now.
Yeah. So what's the worst?
Well, Hassan.
So I'm looking at this list. I genuinely have no idea which it's going to end up being.
No. Oh, here's the thing. It's a tie.
Okay.
Sort of.
Oh, okay.
I have to choose one of them. And I'm choosing the one I want to choose. It was a hard choice. Because it was a choice between truly one of the worst episodes I've watched up until this point, and the one that pissed me off so much.
Okay, well, let's at least give us the names of both, and then we'll talk about the one you picked.
All right, so I'll give you the one I didn't pick right off the bat.
Okay.
So that is The Frying Game. Now, it's an episode that had a ton of potential and would have been amazing. Would have been a truly great episode if they didn't end it with a curtain pull, rug pull kind of situation where it's like, oh, no, it turns out that it's just 100% a reality TV show. Don't worry. All the stuff that was happening, all the good emotions that were happening here, the deconstruction of Marge and Homer's marriage didn't happen. Don't worry about it. Rug pull. It is a reality TV show. Everybody's safe. We're all good family. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I kind of remember liking that episode, but it's been a long time since I've rewatched most of this season.
It is great up until the very end.
Okay, well, let's hear. So that's the one that I assume pissed you off.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the worst then?
Season 13, episode 17, Gump Roast.
I saw that one and I was like, oh, is it going to be a clip? Because I was like, surely it can't be another bad clip show.
It is the worst clip show I've ever seen in my life. I have seen a lot of clip shows. I watch a lot of old TV. And I've watched this show for now 27 seasons. And I've seen a lot of clip shows. This one is the worst clip show I've ever seen ever. Ever.
So what makes it so bad?
Okay. First off, Gump Roast. It starts off with a Forrest Gump parody with Homer on a bench telling his life story. Really good premise for, a clip show, which is essentially what Forrest Gump is. Obviously, we haven't seen the clips before in our lives, but it's a retelling of his life. That is how a clip show technically works. It makes sense. It's a good premise for a clip show. I would have accepted that if that was the whole episode. But a third of the way through, we change, and now Marge picks Homer up from the bench with the kids, and they blindfold him, and now we're going to go off somewhere else. And they drop him off. Oh, he's actually at the Friars Club, and he's getting roasted. Gump roast.
Has the Friars Club come up before?
No. This is the first time.
Okay.
So, now it's a roast of Homer Simpson where people come up and tell stories of Homer Simpson, you know, his life and how, you know, he's dumb and all this stuff. Or whatever. And then, if that wasn't good enough, at the end of the 2/3 point, Kane and Kodo show up, like basically invade the Friars Club, and hook Homer up to a machine to try and gauge how good of a human being he is, and judge the rest of the world on that. And so they use that as a clip show as well. So it's constantly just moving from premise to premise to premise. And unfunny joke to unfunny joke to unfunny joke within the clip show. And the only thing that's really funny are the clips themselves, but they are so disjointed, they don't have any theming or anything, to a point where, like, there's not much to be said about this. It's just random clips thrown together until the very end, where they actually ask Maggie what her favorite clips are and put her up to the machine and that kind of stuff. It's a whole...
Oh, I don't remember that. Yeah. That's a choice.
Anyway, this is the first episode of the season that gets a 1 out of 10. And the first 1 out of 10 of this show. We did it, everybody! We got a 1 out of 10!
Oh, is that our goal? So we're done. All right, well,
no, it's not the goal, unfortunately. Also, the frying game is also a 1 out of 10 because it pissed me off so much.
Okay, that's
great
fair.
Episode until the very end. It was just like, yeah, two ones out of 10 for season 13. That's where we're hitting now. That's where we're at.
Okay, so then
we're just moving along.
The one that I want to talk about, because
all right,
and I don't know that I would have necessarily thought of it this way and put the pieces together in a sense in my mind if it hadn't been this case of you doing this rewatch and me just looking at all these episodes in this condensed period. But for me, I want to talk about season 13, episode 6, She of Little Faith, which is the episode where Lisa becomes a Buddhist.
Yes.
Because
Richard Gere.
Yeah. It's such a weird, like, oh, yeah, Lisa is a Buddhist. And that in no way ever really affects her as a character or matters going forward. It's like, that's kind of weird. Like, that is a...
yes
in
and no.
In an actual person's real life, converting to a religion, that's a big deal. That is a big change in your life and perspective of things. And then they do that. It's like, oh, but it doesn't matter. It's like,
well, it does though. The Buddhism thing actually comes up multiple times. It does.
It comes up, but like what I mean is, you know, it doesn't influence the evolution of this character. It doesn't change the way that they have to write her, or, well, hey, Lisa would have done this thing before, but now that she's a Buddhist, we can't have her do that.
I don't think you've watched as far as I have and realized that they have changed that character to a large degree based solely on her vegetarianism and Buddhism.
Vegetarianism, that I definitely recall, but like
they definitely changed
Buddhism?
Her based. Oh yes. Not, but here's the thing: she's not a. As far as her Buddhism goes, she's not a good practitioner of the following of the religion. She's what you might call a floater. Yeah, but the writing staff has for sure been influenced by the fact that she is a Buddhist. And whether that means that they make her, a peace-loving, like a peace-loving protector of human rights, or someone extremely annoying.
But she was already that before the whole Buddhist thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. But they're leaning into that to kind of make her more annoying. Be like, oh, now she's super annoying because of these reasons. And now, yeah, there's going to be... We're going to discuss the Meg Griffining of Lisa Simpson eventually, but they definitely lean into the Buddhism thing. Not a lot. They lean into the vegetarian thing a lot more. But the Buddhism thing, they lean in quite a bit to make it that her part of a character that you could get mad at. It's pretty dumb, but they do it.
Yeah, no, the writing by this point is pretty meh.
You don't know what meh even is at this point.
I'm aware I'm back again. But anything else you want to say about season 13 before we move on?
Again, extremely mediocre. Like it's just above mediocre enough that like it's there are some good ones. Okay. Besides Jaws Wired Shut, there's also The Parent Rap, which is pretty good. There is She Little Faith is a good episode. I gave that an 8 out of 10. Brawl in the Family, which is an 8 out of 10. Sweet and Sour Marge, which is basically Marge tries to ban sugar in Springfield. It's a 9 out of 10. Yeah, there's a lot of good episodes in season 13. There is a reason to watch this one. Just, be cautious and choose the ones that are better than the ones that are out there. Because, you get stuff like The Old Man and the Key, which is a 3 out of 10. It's about Abe Simpson trying to get his driver's license back. It sucks out loud. Or Tales from the Public Domain. It's a Simpsons 3 Tales about blank episode. It's whatever. Who gives a shit? Or Blame It on Lisa, where she gets to go to Rio. They're gonna go to Rio de Janeiro. Ooh, and then it's just bullshit about Brazil, trying to do Brazilian jokes, and
I can see that not being particularly good representation of Brazil.
Yeah, the very formulaic stuff they get into, because at this point there are formulas that they have that they are sure equals, a good episode or an episode that will get them views. But beyond that, the ones that actually do matter are the ones where clearly they are trying outside of the formula. And those ones are good, so just kind of seek out those episodes and you should have a good time. Even The Frying Game, I think, is worth a watch until the very, very end. Like I said, I gave it a 1 because it angered me. The rest of the episode is interesting. There is a really good dissection of Homer and Marge's relationship there. So, your mileage may vary.
Okay.
As I say.
Moving on, we're now season 14.
Season 14.
Kicking things off in 2002.
Oh, yeah, baby. All right, so. Season 14 is a bit better. Do you want to take a guess at what they gave season 14?
You're saying it's a bit better, huh?
A bit better.
Last scene was a 5.9.
Now, am I being facetious or not?
6.3.
Ooh, very close. 6.22.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's appropriate. 2002, 6.22.
Yeah, exactly. Now, do you want to guess how many 10s there are?
You said it's a bit better. I'm still going to guess 0, because at some point it's going to be 0.
Ooh, yeah, 0.
Okay.
0
all right.
tens.
I was right.
Now, how many 1s are there? Ooh, yeah, we're in this realm now. The guessing game continues.
1-1.
No. 0-1s.
Oh, okay. Damn.
That's almost the reason why it's a little bit better. There's nothing in here that's like that. It's not like nothing in here that's like this is like the worst thing ever. There is still a bad episode, obviously, but like,
yeah. I'm looking at these lists. Barting over. Ugh.
Yeah, there's the Bart of War.
So what's you said it's better. What makes this is there anything that makes the season better, or is it just it's still kind of the same as season 13? It's just a little bit better. Just, hey, they didn't really change anything. It's just not quite as bad as 13 is all.
Yeah, they didn't change anything at all. It's just not as bad as season 13. This is the thing. We're now hitting the point where, like I said, with the Silver Age of The Simpsons, we're at the point where things don't change. Like, almost at all. It takes up until the movie for an actual change to happen. That's going to be season 19. So, yeah. We're at a point where there are still some really good episodes. Gotta find them. But mostly we're in mediocrity territory. There's not a lot of episodes worth mentioning or really like pointing out as ones where you need to watch this episode for X and Y reason. There's still we're thankfully not at the point where they try and do the same things every season. There are still formulas here. There are still the usual Simpsons formulas, which is mired by tradition or masked in tradition. But we're not at a point where those matter as much anymore. It matters in a way where it gets its bad score. Well, it's above average score of 6.22. But this season is not necessarily one where we can go into it and you're going to have a great time or a bad time. So it's an average time, and if you remember any of these episodes being your favorite or just ones you chuckled at or enjoyed, then you should watch this season. I think this season is mostly okay, as is evident. But we should actually discuss the top and bottom first.
Yeah, so let's start bottom. And why is it the Bart of War? Because just reading the first sentence of this description upsets me that Flanders has a shrine to the Beatles. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. The Beatles have so many songs about drugs and other things that Flanders would never be okay with them. What? This is bad writing. Yeah. You guys literally, do you not know your own character? What is happening here?
Well, I'm assuming you're talking about Bart of War for your thing. So it's
no, actually that's not the one I want. There's a different one. But
the Bart of War is a 5 out of 5, by the way. Just straight up, just like dead average.
Sounds about right. So what is the worst of this season?
The worst of this season is Mr. Spritz Goes to Washington. It is an episode about Krusty the Clown running for Congress.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see how that would be a bad episode, because that does not sound appealing.
He's a Republican.
All right, but hang on. It says Walter Mondale is in it. And that's
he is, yep.
Fun name to... He went by the nickname Fritz? All right, that's just even better.
Yeah, so season 14, episode 14, Mr. Spritz Goes to Washington, 2 out of 10. Like I said, it's about Krusty the Clown wanting to become more so being asked to become a congressman and, like, adopted by the Republican Party, like the shadow government Republican Party of Springfield, which consists of Mr. Burns and then, like, the Texan and Dr. Hibbert and all these other guys. Dracula's there, as you do. It's got some weird fourth wall breaking joke where, like, you know those text crawls used to happen in front, like during episodes of shows back in the 2000s. I think they still happen now.
You're talking about like, up in a half hour, blah blah blah, kind of thing. That sort.
Like
you don't mean
ad,
like the
yes.
I forget what's called on news, but
ticker tape,
yeah.
Sort of like that.
You're talking about the like, oh, here's what, or even sometimes it would come up with news.
Junkyard Wars, 10 Little Tuesday, yeah. So there's a fourth wall breaking joke where one of these appears and Homer proceeds to eat it. So there's that.
It's an all right joke. It's a little weird, but I kind of like that.
I'm not a big fan of it, but like that's just me. One of the only funny jokes is that the real crux of this episode is that the what's it called? The flight commission, like the federal commission that does like
FAA, Federal Aviation.
Yes, FAA.
I think.
They actually make the low fly zone just over the Simpsons house. So 742 Evergreen Terrace is just like planes just go right over right top of it, to a point where like Homer is out on top of the roof with a rake trying to like hit airplanes. And there's a great joke where like the house is rattling, and Marge looks up to the fridge and she's like, "There's a swear jar in there." It's like, oh no, not the swear jar. It's the only thing keeping holding back the filth. And then it falls and breaks, and she says, "Nutty fudge." And it's like, okay, that's a very Marge joke. They're like, that's the filthiest thing that she can think of is nutty fudge. Yeah, so the Simpsons somehow convince Krusty to run for Congress so that he can remove the low-fly zone from above their house and put it somewhere else. This episode gets a low score for being extremely transphobic. Pretty transphobic jokes in here. It's 2002, baby!
Yeah, so I was about to say, it's like, oh, that sucks. I can't hold too much against them because that was the overwhelming, just way people thought. Not defending it, not promoting it. It's just like, I can't. That's just how people thought at the time. But that sucks to hear.
We'll get there because that's gonna be mirrored in my, not mirrored. I guess that's reflected, but in reverse in my favorite episode. Yeah, Congress jokes are boring. It's just, all their jokes are pretty boring. It's whatever. I'm not a big fan.
It probably wasn't so bad when that aired, but definitely at this point, the joke of like, oh, the American government is broken. It's like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's been broken since I was a kid.
There is a pretty good like sequence of events where like the janitor helps the Simpsons get their bill passed by sneaking it onto a different, like more popular bill, and like getting a congressman drunk and bribing one of them and like all this stuff. There is a really good little sequence of events there that like I think is kind of fun to watch. So that's why it gets a 2. Like there is still some fun stuff here, but it's otherwise just mired in a lot of like dumb crap, and it's kind of a boring episode. It's not like one where like watching it is causing me physical pain or anything. But it's not really worth writing home about, which is why I'm bringing it up here as the worst episode of the season.
I'm also vaguely surprised how I spent my Strummer vacation wasn't the worst.
That one's pretty typical. That one's like a 5, I think. That's like episode 2, right?
Okay, I guess.
Yeah, that's a 6 out of 10.
5,
yeah, 6 out of 10. There's a couple of good jokes, but for the most part, it's pretty bland.
Yeah, it just seems like hey, we got these big names. Let's cash in on that.
Basically,
All right, well, let's hear the best episode.
All right, the best of the best, which is season 14, episode 17, 3 Days of the Condo, which is a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
I rewatched this one. So as a little aside, I rewatched these episodes the day we record our show, just so I have a good memory of what happened in the episode. And 3 Days of the Condo, I was looking at the list going like, why did I give that a 9 out of 10? It wasn't that good. And I started watching again, and there's this like, oh, there is actually some really good stuff here, because what happens is it's family game night, and Marge decides to, we're gonna do a jigsaw puzzle. But it's like the puzzle takes them like all week to complete, because it's like this like 10,000 piece jigsaw puzzle they need to do in their backyard, basically. But they're missing one last piece, which is like the dead center of the jigsaw, which is the singer's head. And so they go around the house trying to find it, and Homer finds this memory box that Marge has. And he opens it up, because it's like taped closed and all this stuff, and he's like going through like her possessions. He's like, oh, remember this one? Oh, this was a fun night. And he gets to this like placemat she wrote a note to Homer on, and she's like, you are the worst person I've ever seen in my life. I hate you. All this shit.
Fair. Just
totally bashes him. And he's like, what happened? And then, like, he's going through the memory box, and he realizes, oh, this was a night where basically, through talking to her, like, he got really drunk at the opening of Moe's with her there, and then proceeded to ignore her the entire night and do nothing but play video games, which was Asteroids at the time. So.
Wait, hang on.
Yeah.
Asteroids?
Yes.
That wouldn't be right at all.
Hey, look,
this is 2002. This can't be more than... They couldn't have been more than, like, 12 years ago.
We are still on the premise that that Homer and Marge grew up in the 70s.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So, because in season 15 or so, they do fix this with the episode entitled That 90s Show, and that's when they open up and just kind of, like, untense the timeline and make that just the floodgates just open up like crazy. Fuck it. But for now, we're still in the 70s with their childhood, their young adult years. So, yeah, video games, beer, he throws up, it's a whole thing. And Homer realizes that Marge has spent her entire life resenting him. And he even asks her, like, oh, so you've spent your, the last 10 years resenting me. And she's like, yeah, a little bit. And he's like, the fuck? It's a real gut punch to a point where, like, he just leaves. Just goes and finds a place for rent. It's a room for rent with two gay guys. And he goes there, and basically he joins up with them and lives a fairly gay life. And the jokes are good. Gotta point that out. There's still some really good, like, Homer Simpson is a fat idiot who, doesn't really understand things and just takes shit at his own pace. And, for better or for worse. But he's mostly innocent in this. This is a great episode that kind of like removes some of that prejudice towards gay people and like LGBTQ community people from Homer, because he spends a good amount of time living that life and he realizes what it's all about and that he actually does enjoy it and there's no real difference there and all this stuff. So it teaches you a bit of a lesson. Teaches Homer a bit of a lesson for sure. It makes him move on from a lot of that prejudice stuff, which is good. Doesn't show up in any future episode.
Yeah, I just had to look it up. A little bit weird that we're like retreading, for lack of a better term.
Yes.
Homer evolving as a person to accept the LGBT community.
Yeah, because this happened before, yes.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Like, one of my favorite episodes from season 8, Homer's Phobia, with John Waters.
Yeah, with John Waters.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, why are we doing this again?
Homer literally going like, I don't know if I can accept gay people. It's like, buddy, we just went through 6 years ago.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, this is also the beginning of this stuff. But
it's good. You know, I appreciate them, still having that message. It's
we have to do that.
Maybe it would have been nice to, like, acknowledge we went through this and him just be like, yeah, I'm sure I'll move in. I don't care. No, I remember this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. All these cool toys.
Yeah, I love his toys. Oh, man, love his toys. So, yeah, here's the thing. With this episode, Homer basically lives his life, and he realizes that maybe him and Marge are not meant to be. But Marge is willing to take him back, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna make a second, even better effort at this. I want this to work. And then he gets drunk on margaritas, and misses the date night, which is them going to what's it called? Medieval times. So he misses that.
Right,
yeah,
sure.
And then it's basically ends up with him kissing one of his gay roommates. Or also being kissed by one of his gay roommates. And the end of the episode has him being like, I think I maybe like that? Question mark? I think he's kind of like hanging that over the top of it. And you're like, yep, that's going to be there for like a long time. But we're never going to acknowledge it ever again. It's like half a joke, half not. So I don't know what they're trying to do with it. So that's why there's some confusion there. But at the same time, it's got a sweet story. It's got like the introduction of Julio, which is going to be a mainstay character. Julio comes back multiple times.
Which one's Julio?
He's like the really gay one.
Boy, that does.
I just narrowed it down, but
okay, I vaguely remember Julio.
Yeah, he shows up later on. He's a hairdresser, all this stuff. This is the introduction of Julio. Yeah, he's all right. I actually don't mind him as a character. I do think they need to do something more with him besides like just the gay guy. He does get tokenized really badly throughout the series. So yeah, they have to kind of do more with him, but whatever. This is kind of the one thing they really do with Julio, and then beyond that, they let it do whatever. Grady, the other gay guy that is in the episode, that actually he's the guy that kisses Homer. He never comes back. I don't know where Grady went.
What, Grady's not allowed to have a life outside of Springfield?
I hope he does.
Oh, I see how you feel, Tristan. You think all the gays should be forced to live in Springfield. Wow, I can't believe you would say that.
That's not what I said, but
I think if we rewind the tape, that's literally what you said.
We can't rewind this tape. There is no tape. Shoot. Tape doesn't rewind. Yeah. You can just...
that sounds about right.
Probably a button here you can just like click back 10 seconds ago or something like that and hear me not say that.
No, it's fair. I'm one of those kids from the YouTube videos who are like, I've made these teens look at a cassette tape and it confused them. So it makes sense I wouldn't understand
What is this thing? What?
Yeah,
Do you
exactly.
put a stick in there and you fucking burn it? What are you doing, YouTube? Come on. 5-minute crafts my ass. Anyway.
Get him.
So... yeah, this is pretty good. This is a decent episode. I think it's a lot of fun. And they do a lot of like good stuff to kind of like mix it up. The guest character is Weird Al.
Hell yeah.
And he sings about the fact he didn't really have much time to be in the episode at the very end credits. In the form of what's the song called? Jack and Diane.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, it's alright. I think this gets it a 9 out of 10, but I think if I stood this episode against other 9s out of 10, I don't think this one would hold water. So I'm just saying, in context of the season, I think we're at a point. Yeah, we're kind of at a point where like we need to take the season in context.
Yeah, you grade it on the curve. I got it.
Yeah, exactly. Because again, if I took like an episode that was also a 9 out of 10 from like season 8 or something like that, and then put it against this one, like, yeah, there's no fucking way this stands up. Yeah, this is like probably like a 6, if that. But we're at that point now. We have to kind of like I said, grade it on the curb and see where it stands properly in the season. So I'm still trying to rank things a little more scientifically, a little more with my heart and mind kind of thing, to get a combo happening, making sure that, you know, I'm not like just dicking over an episode because it's whatever. But it's kind of hard to do. Yeah. But yeah, so what's the one you want to talk about?
I'm gonna keep harping on about my complaint. The episode I want to talk about is episode 299, The Dad Who Knew Too Little, because it's now 299 episodes in, and we're still doing Homer doesn't care about or understand Lisa.
Yes.
Guys, like, can we move past this dynamic, please? We've had so many tender episodes between the two where Homer has grown and been involved in the things Lisa likes and, you know, has shown that he can't be a good dad. And I think if I was you, if I was the one watching this, I would have pulled my hair out by now. I just would have gone insane. I can't take this. This is so frustrating that these characters never move past these things, despite we have tackled these dozens of times in some cases.
Yep. You know, you're not wrong. I am actually not at this point, not at the point of season 14, mind you. Where I am now, yeah, I am pulling my hair out because of a lot of these things, because this stuff keeps coming up. We're still doing the Dad Who Knew Too Little episodes.
Yeah, which, like, that's the thing, is I'm looking at it going, this is episode 299, and the idea that I know that there are, more than 299 more episodes where this story just keeps happening. Insane. It's like, who wants that? Like, who is the person... Going back to when we started this, you know, they're making another 8 or 9 seasons or whatever.
9.
Who is the person who has watched all 20 whatever seasons, 30 some seasons? I assume we must be up
35.
35 seasons. Like, the idea that somebody's watched 35 seasons, has seen something like The Dad Who Knew Too Little, I don't even know, 50, 60 times probably by this point, and then 9 more seasons, and they're probably sitting there going, yeah, just stick the funnel in my mouth and pour another 8 or 9 of those episodes down. I'll just keep eating. Like,
I mean, some people like their creature comforts, but I mean, I hear you. Like, trust me when I say this. Like, I've watched a episode like The Dad Who Knew Too Little at least once a season since about season 3, I think. Maybe season 2. No, season 3, I think, more so. So, it's not good that they keep going back to these wells. But, I mean, they're not totally dried up. There are still things they can do with these episodes. That's why I don't mind them so much. But you are mostly right, where, like, you get to a point where episodes like this, where Homer doesn't know anything about Lisa, they're just so everywhere. Granted, in season 14, they're not... This is maybe like the, I don't know, 5th episode of its ilk by this point. Something like that. But where I'm at now, it's... like I've seen that episode like at least 10 more times, you know? This one gets a pass for me as an 8 out of 10 because it has some pretty damn good jokes in it. And like the stuff they do with Homer and Lisa, with Homer trying to learn Lisa's life a little more. Even though it's about him hiring a PI to get to follow her around and learn things for him, like the crux of the episode more so becomes like this PI is actually a like kneecap breaking maniac. Like,
but like that's the thing is, I'm sure if I just if I just had cable TV, I was just channel surfing and this was on, I'm sure I'd watch it and I wouldn't hate it. I would find it fine because in that sense, I'd mostly be watching it in a vacuum. It goes back to I think what I said about the sort of one from last season is that it's looking at these all in such a short period of time and back to back that it's just hammering home that you're just these characters just don't get to evolve. They are perpetually stuck, in this just resetting cycle and status of their relationships, and God, that is
it's a lot of here we go again.
Which is why you should be watching Scooby-Doo instead. Those characters change and evolve.
Not really. I mean, they do. I don't know. But
let me tell you about Velma.
Don't tell me about Velma. I know enough about Velma to know I don't want to know about Velma.
I've never even watched that.
I know enough
about it. Pay me to watch that.
Yeah, same.
That's kind of all I want to say about that episode. So I guess, all right. Well, I'll have two parts here. So the first will be, any other last things you just want to say about these last two seasons?
Honestly, they're both fairly skippable, which is not a bad thing. It just means that, like, hey, if you're doing a thing like I'm doing and you want to rewatch all the Simpsons, these seasons are not bad. There's some good stuff here. You'll have a good time for the most part. But if you're just kind of like, which ones are the seasons to watch of The Simpsons? Not these ones. They are so very mediocre that it's not worth watching unless you're just kind of like rolling into them in a binge watch situation. Okay. Now the question though that raises is that like the ones that are truly terrible.
That is where I'm going next is how worried should we be about the next one of these?
Well, the next couple seasons aren't that bad either.
Okay, so we're continuing this plateau.
It plateaus for a while, which is not a bad thing. It's gonna do a little bit of this. It's gonna it is eventually going to.
Hang on, I just Tristan, what are you talking about? I just clicked on the next season. There's an episode featuring both Tony Blair and J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, that one's not very good.
You're telling me we're still just at the plateau?
Hey, one episode does not make a season, okay? Period.
Okay, all right. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Let's be clear. That one episode sucks out loud. I'll tell you that right now. But, like, there's better stuff. There's worse stuff.
Okay, no, that's fair. All right,
you need the bad to balance the good to plateau.
The season.
Yeah, exactly. You need the good and the bad to make the plateau. That's where you plateau. When it's all bad, you get a dip. When it's all good, you get a peak. It's great. Honestly, I can't remember what I gave season 15. Oh yeah.
Well, we'll get there. That's for the next time.
Well, we'll see next time it's true.
Okay, great.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe. No, actually, here's the thing. I think I have watched. I hope I have watched the worst season of The Simpsons. I hope it was the last season I watched. I really hope that was the case. God, I hope it was. God, I hope that was the case. So I don't know if I can do another one like the last season I watched. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say about season 13 and 14 of The Simpsons. Like I said, totally skippable. There are some diamonds, there are some rough. season 13 is the very first 1 out of 10 for me. So, there's at least that. Otherwise, move on. No more through time.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, then, why don't you tell people where to find us?
Go to our Twitter. Yeah, you can find us there sometimes, which is at EIFNAR. I haven't posted there in a while. I need to post more on Twitter. I'm really bad at that because my work schedule is fucking crazy. Anyway, go there and yell at us about how much you love The Simpsons, because engagement and stuff, yes. You should also go to, our iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you can find a podcast, your podcatchers, if you will. And YouTube, go there and favorite the show, listen to the show, click the buttons on YouTube that's down here somewhere. I'm not your father. Click whatever you want. And if I am your father, click whatever you want. I don't give a shit. You're not getting alimony. But you should still at least share
child support. You don't pay alimony to the child.
Yeah, that's fair. No. You're not getting child support. Anyway, click the buttons, do the things. Also, share our show with your friends. It's going to be a good time. They're going to love hearing about season 13 and 14 of The Simpsons because they loved that season and or hated it, and therefore their opinions are as valid as ours. And valued.
You don't think that surely The Simpsons is not say the best examples I can give are like a Mario game or a Zelda game where everyone's favorite is kind of their first one when they were a kid. Surely there aren't people out there that are like, oh yeah, 13 and 14, those are some of the best seasons because they were, I don't know, 8 or 9. It's like the first chances they got to watch.
I think those exist, Hassan. I would put money on it, to be honest, man. Yeah, I know.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, a little bit, but to be fair, The Simpsons is a long-running franchise of a show like this. It's gonna have people who jumped on, like Doctor Who, with a specific doctor, and that's their favorite one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's.
My favorite Mario is Mario World. Even though Mario, Super Mario Brothers, was my first one, doesn't matter though. But somebody might really enjoy Super Mario Brothers 2, and some people might really enjoy The Simpsons season 13. Who knows?
I mean, those people are wrong, but
yeah, it's an opinion. It's valid.
Yeah.
Anyway, go to our friend's site, which is DJDating.com. He's the guy that does the music, DJDating.com. Go there, listen to his great tunes, and maybe you should hire a PI to learn more about him. That sounds probably illegal, actually. So don't do that unless you actually.
That's what I was about to
But that's what
to
PI is
legally
for.
Do things, or you want a PI who's gonna cross the line and get what you want.
I mean, the good PIs cross the line.
Yeah.
But the ones you actually want to hire are the ones that don't cross the line. But the ones you should hire are the ones that cross the line because they'll get you the good information, how much DJ Dane really does love chocolate milk. A lot, probably. Unless he's lactose intolerant, I'm not sure.
Or is he faking the lactose intolerance to throw the PI off?
That's right.
And the PI is just breaking the milkman's arm. Is he actually drinking it?
Is he drinking the chocolate milk? He's like, I don't know.
I just deliver it.
Oh, God. Don't take my teeth. Yes. Good times. Anyway, that's it for our show. Tune in for the edibleness of Everything is Finally Ruined. See ya.
See ya.
Say it.